with Chapter 78 being surprisingly like a very Lucy-centered chapter. I thought it'd be more set on the whole main cast, but it gave way more spotlight to Lucy, and I was very happy about that, just in general. Like, she got a lot of really good flex moments, and I think, my belief at least, is that the fact that she has gained the like knowledge of her advanced magic is what's going to lead the other characters into, you know, exploring their magics and figuring out whatever is advanced for them. Because that would make sense. I think just in general of them like, oh, seeing what Lucy can do now, and it's like, oh, well, now I can try and figure out what I can do. Because they haven't really had much breathing room, really. But Lucy is like a really good opportunity to open up them to just to kind of see whatever is they can then bring out and bring onto the table after, you know, Lucy just had this really impressive display with all her spirits, dropping her Stardust mix and Aqua Metra all in the like back to back with like no problem. But the chapter then ends obviously with Urza and Yoko. So I assume, and I feel like most people can safely just assume, that the next chapter is going to be very Urza focused. So there are two specific things really about the next chapter that I would, you know, I got my hopes on. One, obviously, Urza, Advanced Magic, and then Yoko's performance. Now, I don't expect Yoko to be like this long-running giant boss character. Like, she is a traditional summoner. Like, she's got her own abilities, you know, to help with that. She's got her flight, and then she's got the ability to make those clones of herself, make copies, you know, decoys and stuff. But at the end of it, she's still clearly a you know, a traditional summoner type wizard, so she's not going to have the best durability, I would assume. If they can, you know, land hits, that's usually how it goes when it comes to like very, you know, caster classic summoner type characters. They're not used to taking damage from just the fundamental of how their powers work, so, you know, you get the hit in, it's obviously not gonna, you know, it's gonna be a much heavier thing than, you know, hitting somebody like Natsu or Gray, who are very much used to getting, you know, taking a beating. But with Yoko, I only hope that she does like a fairly good job. If this was one-on-one, I would expect her to have like a lot better of a performance. But I mean, she's got the entire main cast like right there. Like, she's not in a good spot. Like, she should have showed up with more than just herself. Because you have, literally, like, just looking at, like, the yokai and stuff, like, Natsu has been bodying, like, all of them. Like, Lucy's putting work, Stone Gray, Wendy, like, none of the yokai outside of the ones that are tricky for specific characters are much of a problem. Like, when we saw Lucy's Aqua Metria and some of the yokai were water-based, so they weren't affected by it, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, well, these specifically are going to be trouble for you while you're doing, you know, this set. Or, you know, doing water spells. You'd have to switch to something else, but maybe there's yokai that are able to contend with whatever, like, or other sets have, whatever other Star Dress or whatever spell that she ends up using. And I would assume that'd be the case for a lot of them. You know, there'd be some that are just, oh, there are a few in this batch that are trouble for you specifically based on, like, the clash of your powers versus, like, their resistances and stuff. But you have the entire main cast. So it's like, even like the ones that like had water resistance when Lucy uses Aqua Metria, not even thinking of like Lucy's other spells, but it's like, yeah, you still have Natsu, Gray, Wendy, Urza there to just do their thing and then take those ones out for you. So Yoko, I've really just been hoping Yoko has a like I'd say like a out of a display, like if you had to like rank her performance, I'm hoping for like a 6.5 out of 10, just because, like I said, she's up against so many bigger opponents that her having just a good performance is already like a big win on her part. Like, again, if she was just against Lucy or Urza or any of these characters one-on-one, I would expect a lot more. Because the difference between the Moonlit Beauty Gods and the God Seeds, for, you know, obvious minions to minions of Dragon Gods, is that with Selene, like, her crew clearly has experience fighting. They have way more going on. Whereas with the God Seeds, they just woke up. Like, they had been asleep for hundreds of years, so I didn't really think they should have, other than like the God Seed Alderaan, have a lot of experience in battle. But also, a lot of them were, outside of Wolfen's wild card, you know, but the rest of them were classic casters and summoners. So you just have to get the big hit in there on them. You do enough damage, you get the hit on them, they're gonna be feeling it. They're not characters built to take hits. That's one of the things that's going to be interesting with Mimi, because Mimi is definitely a character whose body is durable. So who exactly is going to fight her? I kind of want it to be Mad Mole, but we obviously have to have the team up, or at least some form of conflict that would put Mad Mole against Mimi, just to see like these two big physical powerhouse, like semi-immovable objects clashing. But we'll see exactly how it goes. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a Lucy fight, just obviously getting her revenge against Mimi for beating her before. But with Yoko, like I said, I just really hope that Yoko has like a fair performance. Maybe pulls out a couple tricks up her sleeve. I'm hoping she has more than just yokai spam, flight, and then her paper clones. I mean, those combined is a really good moveset by itself. But she's definitely got to have some more big things up her sleeve. Not just because, like, she's a powerful character, but she's directly adjacent to Selene. So I think any characters that are adjacent to the Dragon Gods, regardless of fights, should have some crazy trump cards. I mean, look at, like, regardless of their fighting capabilities, the Godseeds are really powerful for their abilities. You had Doom, who had, like, fate manipulating instant death spores. You had Metro, who had these absurdly physical powerhouse spammable golems. Wolfen's a wild card. He can just turn into people for you and have their abilities and whatnot. You got Gears, who like messes with your perception of time and your brain and like your ability to use your abilities and stuff and use your spells. And then like you got like Alderaan. You got the big boy. Like he's the one obviously to take the most note of, but he's the only one to really take that much note of. Whereas like these other ones, like Doom, Metro, Gears, and Wolfen, they all had their own strengths and weaknesses, but regardless, they all had their own pretty thick moveset. And even somebody like, again, Doom or Gears, who didn't do a ton with like their moveset, or even Metro, because Metro's, I guess, is more just the spam. But I mean, like, what they did with their abilities was really impressive. So I'm hoping Yoko can have a little bit more. Like, I'm still hoping that she can merge with her yokai, similar to what she did to members of the main cast. But also, I'm hoping she's got a couple yokai that are at least threats. Like, not just one shot them out. Like, maybe, like, I don't expect them to be like, oh, we all gotta team up and focus on this one. But it's like, Natsu has to go at least into, like, Fire Dragon King mode in order to take him down or something. We have to see the characters actually put in some work to essentially beat him. It doesn't have to be some giant obstacle they all have to unite their power to overcome. It's just, it's Yoko's minion, that in reality. So, I just hope that it's formidable enough that we can say like, oh wow, she's actually pretty strong in a one-on-one fight. She's already got some good moves, but we'll see. So really hoping Urza just starts showing whatever advanced magic is. My guess has been fusing her armors and weapons, like being able to combine them, gain both abilities. Like I think the easiest one that I thought of is like if you combine Flame Empress with Blackwing, or even like Blackwing with like Heaven's Wheel, so you could have the ability with Heaven's Wheel of have tons of swords. We've seen that she can summon hundreds at a time, and then Blackwing where it's like just increasing regular sword slash, like just outright power increase, but then just combine them to just have all these hundreds of swords with like immense power swings and stuff. Just simple stuff like that, or you get kind of more complicated. Maybe give her like Nakagami and Clear Heart and just make her broken. But anyway, other than that though, tell me your thoughts are about these ideas. What you think is coming up next chapter. And I'd really appreciate a thumbs up the video, with a like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.